Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second Chalk Talk of the year. I'm Patrick Herb from UW Athletics, and I'm thankful that you guys are here joining us. And sorry about the little delay. Hard to expect anything to go right these days in the COVID era, but we're here, and we've got Dean Oliver, assistant coach, ready to stop by in just a couple minutes. But before we do that, I want to set the table on a couple things. Thanks for checking us out. If you are a member of the Booster Club, then you know what Chalk Talk's all about, and we're glad that you're here. If you're new and you're not a member of the UW Booster Club, thanks for stopping by and giving us a little bit of your time. Hopefully we can entertain you and answer some great questions that we got. A little bit of background. So during non-COVID era, the Booster Club has live Chalk Talks that are 90 minutes before tip-off. For a couple home games every year, and they happen in the practice gym, and one of the assistants comes by and answers questions, and there's food and beverages provided, and it's a really fun event, and it's one of just several events that happen throughout the year for the Booster Club. And you can donate as little as $100 and to the Booster Club and have access to all these great events like Chalk Talks and overtime luncheons and golf outings and road trips with to Badger games on the road. Lots of fun things, and we would love for anybody who's interested to join our club. You could do so by emailing Laura Strang. Her email address is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, but it's LJS as in Sam at athletics.wisc.edu. So thanks for stopping by here. We also want to say thank you to all of our great sponsors. Those of you who are so generous with the Badger Basketball Booster Club. And that list is scrolling as well. And we're just grateful for all of our great partners and great Badger fans. We know that not every school has the support that we do, and we're very grateful for it. Let's give a brief talk of where Wisconsin is today. Thankfully, we've got an awesome team to follow again this season. They're 12-3, 6-2 in the Big Ten, just one game out of first place. Thanks to Iowa for taking that bump last night. We'll have to get Dean Oliver's opinion on that one. They lost to Indiana, and so now it's just Michigan ahead of Wisconsin. And the Badgers get a rematch with Michigan coming up, and I know they are anxious to play them again and maybe get a little revenge for what happened in Ann Arbor. We don't have to speak on that anymore. But Wisconsin's ranked 10th in the AP poll. They're 9th in the Ken Pomeroy analytics rankings. ESPN's bracketology that just came out with an update today has the Badgers as a 2 seed right now in the NCAA tournament. So that's pretty heady stuff, and this team has earned it. One of the metrics that the NCAA uses to evaluate and seed teams is the net rankings, and they sort your wins by quadrants and by the strength of how your wins are, whether you beat a good team, whether you beat them at home or on the road, and they're all weighted differently, and there's quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, quad 1 and quad 2 are thought of as the best, the quality wins. Wisconsin right now is 8-3 in quad 1 and quad 2 games. So they are playing a lot of great teams, and they're beating a lot of great teams. Those 8 quad 1, quad 1 and 2 wins, that trails only Alabama for the most good wins in all of college basketball. So pretty fun stuff so far, and they've got a big test tomorrow when number 15 Ohio State comes to the Kohl Center. That'll be at 3 p.m. on CBS. Man, it's just a shame that we won't be able to pack that joint and see all of your faces and have the Kohl Center rocking. It's such a hard place for opponents to play, and some of that home court advantage is certainly lost without you guys. So we miss you for that. But let's bring in our featured guest, Dean Oliver. He started Iowa in the late 90s, early 2000s, played professionally for 9 years, including 2 seasons with the Golden State Warriors. He was Steph Curry before Steph Curry, but he's in his 4th year on the Badger bench. Dean Oliver, welcome into our Chalk Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me, Patrick. I don't know about me being Steph before Steph. I definitely helped get Steph as far as getting a high draft pick. I think I definitely helped with that, but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah, there you go. You're part of the legacy then. They should have given you a ring for some of the championships.
No doubt about it. I'm waiting on it.
Hey, let's start with last night's game. You're an Iowa alum. You've got the scout when Wisconsin plays Iowa. So did you watch their game against Indiana last night?
Oh,
what was your reaction?
Definitely. I was trying to prepare for Ohio State. I also have them also, but I did watch it. And I tell you what, everyone looked at our game versus Indiana, and they see you've got to really be able to guard. And that's what they did. They really guarded Iowa well. It seems like they didn't because they score so many points regardless, but it's all about defense and controlling the tempo when you play them. They're a very talented offensive team.
Well, I know we're focusing on Ohio State, but you have in the Iowa, what did they do particularly? Because Iowa entered that game, I think the number one offense in the country in terms of efficiency and maybe even points. So particularly, what did they do to slow them down?
I'll tell you what, I just caught the end of the game, to tell you the truth. I was worried about Ohio State, but
That's good.
the recipe is to control the tempo. You've got to keep them from getting out in transition and getting easy buckets for Garza and keep them off the foul line. I'm sure I saw Indiana, they missed a lot of free throws down the stretch. You definitely can't do that, but they were able to hold on. So obviously they did some things early in that second half, and we'll definitely be studying that film later when I get to that one. So we're on Ohio State now, and then we got to get ready for the next one after that. So.
Well, we have a bunch of user-generated questions that are user-submitted questions that we got from social media and that Laura got in emails. But let's start with Ohio State. Let's talk about tomorrow's opponent. We have not seen them yet this season. We played them twice. Wisconsin played them twice last year, swept the season series. They have a lot of the same personnel, but a couple new faces. Get us prepared for Ohio State. What do we need to know?
I'll tell you what, they when you look at them on paper, they look undersized. They, a much different team than last year with the Wesson brothers. They don't have them, but other guys have really stepped up this year. You look at what Dwayne Washington has done, their guard. They've been banged up with injuries. He's been forced to kind of play point guard, but that puts the ball in his hands a lot, and he's scoring about 20 points a game. And really taking control. And then EJ Liddell has really jumped up this year also. Last year he had a smaller role, and this year he's kind of taken the Caleb Wesson role and being dominant in the post and also able to stretch the floor and go out on the perimeter. They are gritty. They're tough. And like I said, you look at them on paper and you look at their size, but they fight and play physical. And you think you're going to be able to just dominate them inside, but they fight so hard and they make it tough to get it in there, and just really a credit to them. Like I said, they've had injuries to their point guards. They keep winning, they keep winning. So we got to be ready for a tough, gritty battle.
It sounds like every Big Ten game. It seems like seems like that's the scouting report for every Big Ten game. And just played Rutgers; they were the same way. But EJ Liddell is a guy that we recruited and got to know pretty well. I think during his process, he's a Chicago kid. He's a special talent. What do you see on film watching him so far with Ohio State?
Yeah, he's a St. Louis kid.
St. Louis. Okay.
He really has improved his game by he just. I think in the Illinois game, which obviously him being from St. Louis, he wanted to really give it to them, and he did. He came out and found his outside touch from three. I think he hit 4 threes in that game, which really changes the game for him. But really athletic, can kind of jump over guys. Like I said, they're undersized, but they're so athletic, they make up for it. And he's really gotten stronger this year. I think that's the main thing with him. When he's down in that post, it's kind of like one of those deals where you know what he's going to do, but he still is able to get to do it and jump over and power through guys and get the contact. And he kind of lives on that foul line. That's going to be important for us, is to keep him off that foul line.
Now, you mentioned that they're maybe a little bit undersized on paper. So is this a game where it might be difficult to get Potter and Reavers on the court at the same time? We had a question submitted that wondering, why Potter doesn't play more minutes. Interestingly, the numbers, the Potter and Reavers minutes are separated by 5. Reavers has played just 5 more minutes of the season than Potter. And in Big Ten play, Potter's actually played 1 more minute than Reavers. So is this a game, though, where it might be tough to get them both on the floor together?
Well, a lot of it depends on a lot of these teams they're doing it on purpose. They don't want to see both of those guys in there together. So a lot of teams have been even playing some guards at the 4 position and really kind of forcing our hand at different times of the game. So this is a team that has they're definitely versatile, and they're already undersized, so they definitely can go that route. But I really think Nate can get down and guard somebody like a Kyle Young. So we should be able to play some big and just kind of got to feel how it's going. If it's working in our favor, we can run with it, and if it's not, we're also versatile and we can play our lineups.
Well, the guy who maybe exudes versatility as much as anybody is Tyler Wall, and he's been in the starting lineup the last couple of games. I always say the starting lineup is ornamental, and it really, looking at who plays more minutes is more important. But Tyler has thrived in that role, and he's playing really well. One of the questions we got was, what do you attribute that growth for him from last year to this year? Because last year he was not a threat from outside the arc, wasn't getting as much time. Now he's a valuable piece.
Yeah, he's really put the work in. And that's the thing, early in the season, you put all this work in the off season, and then you kind of get one or two shots in a game and you don't make it. And then your confidence seems to go a little bit, and then you miss another couple shots and you're looking at your numbers. And finally he just said, forget it. He's just going to play. And he saw a couple go in, and now he's seeing the work, he's seeing the results from all that work that he's put in. And now his confidence is sky high, as it should be. And that's how it is. When you work as hard as Tyler Wall works, you're going to have results eventually. It's just being patient enough and sticking with it. And that's what he's done. And he's really played lights out.
Another question that's related to Tyler a little bit that we got was, I don't want to read this one. It says that this individual has noticed that some of the players, especially Ford, Davis, Wall, they seem to be quicker reacting and sliding laterally on defense than maybe previous seasons. And they're doing a great job of stopping drives to the basket. And so they're asking if that's something that we specifically work on, that lateral movement for stopping. And
believe it or not, we've been working on that for years. No, but I think part of it is growing wiser. It's paying attention to detail as far as chopping your feet, having the focus to be able to chop your feet the right way, and technique, staying consistent with your technique, and just the anticipation skills. As you get older and wiser, your anticipation gets a little better. You know what's coming, and you know how to cut guys off, and you know how to do it without fouling. And hopefully I'm not speaking too soon, because Ohio State is really going to test that in guarding a few of their guys. But hopefully we can keep them off the foul line by moving laterally and showing our hands and sticking with our technique on the defensive end.
Is this a fun team to coach?
It's an awesome team to coach.
In what way? In what way?
It's just everyone really enjoys each other. There's not any bickering and fighting, and if it is, it's always constructive. Guys, they like each other and they play well. They move the ball. The ball doesn't get sticky too often. If it does, they hold each other accountable, and we move on. And it's just they play really disciplined. And they believe in doing the little things, and they've stuck with it. And they've had a lot of success because of doing it, but they haven't gone away from it. No matter how tough times, that Michigan game, we got right back to our defense. We realized it. We looked in the mirror and saw what type of intensity that we had when we got down, and we didn't have it. And then right away at the Rutgers game, picked it right back up. So that's awesome to see that guys can play together the way they play together.
I think a lot of teams say that they don't care who gets the points, who gets the credit, and a lot of players say that, but I don't know if it's always true.
Yeah.
I do get the sense that it's true for this team, that on any given night they would much rather trade a win and see their brothers have a great game than the alternative.
Definitely, they care for each other, and they also they all know the big picture. What we want to accomplish. They want to accomplish some big things, and to do that, they all understand they're all going to have to make some sacrifices. In certain games, maybe they're not scoring. In certain games, maybe they're not even playing as much. You look at what Mike and Nate have had to do. The other teams are strategizing to make it difficult for them to be on the floor at the same time, but they've accepted it and they've thrived in the minutes that they're out there, and they're pulling for each other. That's the main thing. When teams are really pulling for each other genuinely, you can have special teams, and that's what this team is.
So you mentioned those two specifically, Nate and Micah, and we got a question about what can you guys work on to increase scoring in the paint? And I know it's a good shooting team from outside, so you're going to still do that, but how would you answer that question?
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of it is finishing. We have not finished as well as we have in the past. You can look at just those two numbers individually, as far as how Nate's finished, how Micah's finished. I think Micah's might be about the same, but Nate hasn't finished well. So part of that is just not looking for fouls and finishing. And then the other part is battling for position to get better catches. A lot of times, especially when they get their outside shot going, they want to live on the outside and just kind of pick and pop and not battle quite as hard, kind of settle for jumpers. And when you settle too often, your numbers are going to go down when you finally get in there and have to power it up in traffic, and you just haven't been doing it as often. And then you're a little rusty. It's kind of like anything. Your shot, your ball handling, you don't do it a whole lot, it gets rusty. So they just have to, get better catches in there, catch them deeper, and then, have that mentality of not looking for fouls and finishing regardless.
We had another question to ask about kind of the mechanics of how you assistants handle your responsibilities. So I think this is an interesting topic to dive into. Maybe you can give us a little insight into it. So can you talk to us about how you divide up the responsibilities in terms of scouting and preparing for games? And then the second one will be the recruiting responsibilities. But let's start with the preparation, and then the preparation, and this is a long question now, and also the coaching. Do you coach by position? So you, having been a former point guard, do you specialize in guards?
I wouldn't say, coach gives us, an opportunity to coach all the guys. As far as when we break things up in the guard forward or three groups, 3 guards, wings, and there isn't bigs anymore, so basically forwards. When we break it up, usually we rotate. So a lot, we coach all 3 groups, not just one. But obviously, I usually work with the small guards, and Tuck works with the bigs sometimes, and Crab works with the wings sometimes. But we break it up as much as we can. But at the same time, whenever we see something, we're always trying to help each one of the guys. And it could be Tuck talking to Meech, and
Uh-oh. We might have some internet trouble. There, you're back.
You see something, you want to help them. And that's why we got into this. We love helping these guys. We want to see them have success. And if we see something, we just let them know. But as far as practices, when we break it up, we do break it up into groups. Usually I do have the smaller guards, but I do get an opportunity to work with everybody.
What about recruiting wise? Do you recruit positions? Do you focus on guards more than others, or is that and geography? How does that play?
Yeah, I think a little bit geography. We try to break it up. Obviously, we like to stay in the Midwest, so we kind of break up the Midwest a little bit. But position wise, no, we it's whatever, because you have a lot of years you only have a couple scholarships.
Right.
And if you break it down, it takes all hands on deck when we recruit and bring guys in, and it's a team effort. That's what it takes to show our culture and show who we are. It takes the whole staff to do that, and we try to do it together as much as possible. But other than splitting it up a little bit geographical, but I obviously Tuck played. Long time, played all over the place. I played all over the place. Coach Crab played so you have connections all over the place. And if you know somebody and they know about somebody, we're listening.
So I think the term like lead recruiter is often thrown out a lot. Mm-hmm. What you're talking about, a team concept, is that do you guys operate that way? There's a lead recruiter, or do you guys all have your fingerprints?
Lead recruiter. It's probably someone, if one of us found out about someone, you usually take the lead on them. Or if you have a connection to someone that they know or something, or a coach that you've known for a long time, you can take the lead on that one. But but when it comes down to it, you got to show your whole program. You got to it takes everybody's effort as far as showing what we're all about.
I know our football team operates this way, and I know you guys do too, that the players are as good a recruiters as you guys have. If you get the right kids in your program, they can help sell the program to the next generation of kids. So I look at a guy like Brad Davison, like he's got to be, I know he's been a great recruiter for us. One of the questions we got was, are you going to hire him on your staff whenever he's done playing? Because we know he's talked about wanting to coach.
No doubt about it. He definitely will be hired by one of us. We would love to have him coach. He's been a great leader. He is basically the culture of the program was really started when he came in and with that group, and he's the vocal leader of that group, really. And when recruits come and they meet him, and then they meet everybody else, because you know how he is. You can't just meet him. You got to meet everybody around him too. That just, the program sells itself, and that's what we want to be about. And those are the type of guys we want part of our program. And of course, when Brad, he's going to be a great coach someday, but hopefully he's playing for a long time before that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Micah, I know he was central in recruiting Micah on when he was transferring.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a guy who played at Ohio State for 2 years, now Wisconsin, and he's playing against Ohio State. Can you imagine having played against your alma mater, like transferring mid-career and having to play Iowa, what that would have been like?
Yeah, we have to settle Micah down. He's a little too amped about these games.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
locker room.
It is. And then, of course, there's a few guys that were on the team when he was there still. And, there's that rivalry there. And, again, we have to keep Micah settled down. He's kind of the guy you got to settle down anyway. So then when he's playing Ohio State, of course, we got to get him calmed down.
What are your thoughts on the NCAA tournament being all in India this year? I mean, we know why. But just what do you think that environment's going to like? God willing, Wisconsin will be involved in that. It's looking like that.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's exciting that they're figuring things out. We don't know a whole lot of details about it yet, but just feel fortunate to have a tournament. That's our perspective, especially with the group that we have. We have a special team. We think we can do some special things, and we want that opportunity. So the fact that they're figuring it out and it looks like it can work, and they can form as much of a bubble as they can and make it safe for the student athletes, we're pretty excited about that. So we're just going to keep kind of plugging away, rolling with the punches, and hopefully this all comes into fruition.
Yeah, it's an enormous puzzle that they're smarter people than me trying to figure out how to get it pulled off. But it excites me to think about. And yeah, it was crushing not to be able to play last season. Okay, a couple quick ones for you. Toughest player you ever played against in the NBA?
Well, the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Now, you got a Michael Jordan story?
He wasn't in his prime. He was with Washington when I was playing, but
okay, that counts.
I didn't get in that game, so I didn't get in off the bench in that game, so I don't know if I can claim that I played against him. But I tell you what, he's the greatest of all time, and he had like the glow, like I could see him like glowing, literally as I was watching in that game. So, when you were a player, favorite Big Ten arena to play in? Not Carver. We'll say not Carver. Favorite Big Ten arena.
We'll say no Kohl Center because
where did I have you? I would say Ohio State because we always had great games there. I personally always had great games there. So that's probably the one that sticks out in my mind. I asked Krabbenhoff this when he did the Chalk Talk last week. What's your favorite game you've coached in your career so far? Oh, boy. That's tough. Man, there's been the Purdue victory when Frank came back, that was pretty exciting. That was pretty great. That was pretty great. That was a great night. Yeah, the court storming and the whole deal. Definitely. Man, the thought of a court storming now is like it's the opposite of social distancing, but it also just makes me long for those days when we can have the fans back in the arena. No doubt. All right, let me get you out of here on this. We appreciate your time here, and I know you probably got more Ohio State tape to watch or film, whatever, digital video, whatever. Give me, if one thing goes Wisconsin's way, we feel like we're going to be in good shape tomorrow in this game, other than the score. Like the one thing we can look at, if we're doing this, we're going to be okay. If we're keeping them off the free throw line, I think we'll be okay. I think that's going to be the key. So
All right, keep it in mind. We're gonna chart that. Everybody keep track of that. How we're doing on the free throw battle. Thank you everybody for watching. We really appreciate you investing some time with us, and for those of you who are in the Booster Club, investing with our program and helping support us, and those who sponsored this also. If you want to be a part of the Booster Club, we'd love to have you. There's gonna be great things in store for next season when we can all be together again. Again, email Laura Strang, LJS@athletics.wisc.edu. Tomorrow, number 10 Wisconsin, number 15 Ohio State, 3 p.m. on CBS. Thanks, Coach Oliver. Everybody have a great weekend.
See you later, man.